Thanks for listening to another episode of the Business of Fun podcast. I am your host, Dave Wakeman. My guest today from Ticket Data, or Ticket Data, however you'd like to say it, ticketdata.com, is Keith Pagello. We had a great conversation. It was really cool. Keith sent me an email. He said he liked the podcast, liked the newsletter. And then I said, we want to come on the podcast. So we had a really cool conversation because Ticket Data is a brand new platform that he's been building. So we'll talk about that in a second. Before I do, though, let me talk to you for just a moment. The Talking Ticket newsletter has been getting a lot of attention lately, so if you haven't signed up for it, please do. It's at talkingtickets.substack.com, or you can put your email into the Dropbox on my website. It's davewakeman.com. The latest thing I have put out is I've started to share some of the data and some of the insights and information from the 2025 Talking Tickets Global Ticket Survey, which I'm still taking responses for, and I will put a link to in the show notes. The last edition was about premium seating. And one of the things that I shared was some research that I've done over the years that told me that the super ultra premium, the ultra high net worth people, they want to have the ability to buy people a drink or a meal, or have somebody buy a drink or a meal for them. So that all you can eat or drink options aren't necessarily as appealing for the people at the super top, the super premium. We also talked about why premium has to be more than just expensive, and that you need to think in terms of luxury and premium. There's a lot of stuff in the newsletter. Check it out, talkingtickets.substack.com. Make sure you visit the website. I'm going to, I think I'm going to launch a webinar that goes in conjunction with this, but there's going to be some stuff that's coming out in regards to premium and some of the things that we've been learning in the newsletter. Make sure you sign up so you don't miss any of this. All right, so let's talk about my conversation with Keith. First off, I wanted to understand how he came to this idea of Ticket Data, because it's not necessarily a broker tool, even though brokers have become really fond of the tool. We talk about some of the competing sets of data on the market. We talked about why a real fan might care about something like ticketdata.com. We talked about how you learn about insights, how quickly the data is used, why journalists and PR people could pay attention to it, what you can use it for even if you work on the primary side. We talked about why, what the business model is. We talked about quite a bit of stuff. This is interesting, especially if you're focusing on research or trying to understand your market or understand like the dynamics that drive demand right now, especially as the ticket buying process seems to be getting later and later for a lot of people. So this is a great conversation between me and Keith Pagello on the Business of Fun podcast. All right, I would like to welcome Keith Pagello to the Business of Fun. Keith, man, what's up?
I'm good, Dave. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. I am doing all right. Like, as you can tell, because I'm laughing at myself, so I can't be doing too poorly. I'm excited to talk to you because I guess it's like really in the last week or two, you launched ticketdata.com. And I just found out about this, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. And I think that this is something that people should be aware of. And it was something that, I just wanted to learn more about it. So I was really excited that you had some time to talk to us. So can you explain to me what Ticket Data is?
Sure, totally. So what Ticket Data is basically a place where anybody can go to. It's a free service. It's a totally free, totally public. There's no paid subscription or anything. So a site that anybody can go to and quickly, pull up any game, both upcoming stuff and past, and see what prices for that event are doing. So, I'm thinking about going to the Yankees game tonight. Are prices going up or prices going down? Going all the way back from the day that the event went on sale, or actually even, before that, all the way up until today. The data is updated super quickly. So, events that are far out, maybe only updated, say, every 6 hours or so. But then, once you start to get to, within a few days of the event, stuff is being updated, as frequently as every 10 minutes in some cases. And it's kind of bugged me for a long time that nothing like this has existed. There's certainly been a bunch of paid tools, geared towards brokers that have a lot of bells and whistles. But in terms of just, a straightforward site that's free that anybody can go to quickly track any event, see what prices are doing, really kind of hasn't existed. And that's kind of my goal with this, is to fill that gap and make it so anybody can see that data.
And so with your market, like your focus, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be like your average consumer, right?
Yes.
Or is it not just the average consumer, but it's maybe a person who on the primary side who doesn't operate with or have access to data for the secondary market? Is that kind of the right or wrong direction that I'm thinking?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I kind of quietly launched this to for a few broker groups and communities over the past couple of weeks, and the reception there has been really good. It seems like, once again, there's paid tools that do a lot more and have a lot more bells and whistles, but for something that's dead simple and anybody can pull up on their phone and it looks good on your phone. It's not like a desktop only kind of thing. That even brokers, people looking at this stuff all day, every day, are like it and use it, and I've gotten a really good reaction from them. That being said, I'd really like to make this a product that it's not just for people in ticketing, whether they're on the resale side, whether they're on the primary side. I kind of would like to make this something that is accessible for an everyday fan and is interesting for an everyday fan, and is really something that people can use to make better purchasing decisions.
Okay. So you started out launching it to people on the secondary market and like brokers, but your ultimate ambition is to have it make it a consumer facing product with a mobile app, which I never look at the stuff on my desktop except for like writing or doing this podcast.
Sure.
Most of the time it's on my phone.
Yep.
So why did you start with the brokers then? And I'm going to ask it in a specific way because I'm curious. The answer is because they're going to have a different set of demands maybe than the consumer. And how are you going to balance that? Because I would be, I'm just curious, like, it can be a hard thing to change directions on, right? Because these guys will have like definitely very specific needs.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a great question, and definitely something that I've had to balance a lot. So, exactly, things that brokers want are things that your everyday fan may not care about. For example, probably the number one request I've gotten from brokers is, I want to see the volume of inventory over time too. Not just, I don't just want to see what the price is doing. I want to see, is the number of tickets available on the secondaries remaining flat, or is it nosediving, or is it going up? What's it doing? And I totally understand how that information is extremely important for people, brokers, especially on the resale side. But I think for the average fan, that they don't really care about that. And in fact, like putting that data on the chart is just going to add more clutter and make things confusing. So yeah, it's something like a feature like that wouldn't be too hard to build out. But I think it's something that maybe like I should put my foot down and be like, I understand that this is something that brokers want, but given that's not, exactly who the kind of my ideal target audience is for, that maybe we hold off on that for now, or maybe that's something that can be incorporated, as a feature that you could toggle on manually once you sign up for an account or something like that in the future. But try to keep the product not too broker oriented, and because in doing so, you're gonna make it too confusing and too hard for the everyday person to understand. And then, kind of your other question was like, if my target audience is the everyday fan, why kind of start releasing this to brokers first? And I think the answer to that is because it's pretty easy to reach the broker community with, kind of the groups that you and I are in. You can kind of just post there and immediately have a lot of eyeballs on this for people that are very interested in this, and will start using it on day one and be using it every day. Whereas it's a lot harder to convince a random person off the street who goes to 3 games a year, and I'm going to say, look at this, and they're going to be like, I don't, what is this? I don't care. This is, maybe if they were going to an event that day, they might care, but probably the other 360 days of the year, they're going to be like, okay, maybe I'll try to remember this, but this is not something I'm going to be looking at every day. So I think it's good to like get this kind of foundation of people in the ticketing world who are using the product every day, and kind of maybe proving that it's somebody's interested in it, and then from there try to attract the everyday person, which is probably a harder thing to do.
Oh, it's infinitely harder.
Infinitely harder. I think I'm like just starting to realize like how hard that is, especially, this is not the price that StubHub, Vivid, whoever pay for, paid search is obscene for lack of a better word. And the dollars and cents that they're spending, you probably have a better guess at it than I do, but I would certainly say StubHub spends tens of millions a month on paid search, roughly. I'd say at least
far off,
right. At least 10. I don't know, probably somewhere between 10 and 100 million a month, maybe, to get those sales. So I think
with no customer loyalty.
Yeah. So I think I have no chance of like even thinking about like dabbling in that kind of those avenues to try to get traffic to the site. So I'll definitely have to be a little more nitty gritty with ways of getting the everyday person to be aware that something like this exists, and bring them to the site.
I will give you a small piece of free advice. Target journalists, like people who write about like entertainment and sports and everything, and have them
do my
have them use the data when they write stories, like just
totally
just whore yourself out to the journalists.
I can do that. I can do that.
All right, so you said there'll be access for an account, but I think you said you wanted to make sure that this remain free to consumers. But so what's going to be the difference between like your normal, I go to ticketdata.com, and the account? Like, what's the incentive for people if they're going to sign up for an account?
Sure. So right now you can see everything you want. You do not need an account. The only thing that you need an account for right now, and even creating an account, is still totally free. It takes 2 seconds. Is things like being able to, if you want to create a custom zone. So by default, I'm showing you the get-in price for the event. And, if there's any listeners that aren't too ticket savvy, the get-in price is basically just the price of the cheapest pair of tickets. So, the get-in price for the event is, let's say it's $100. And then for a lot of events, I have these kind of preset zones. I've tried to keep it just at one zone for any given event to, once again, not clutter everything up. So, for example, maybe for a baseball game, there's the get-in price is the default, and then there's kind of one additional zone, which would be, for baseball, it would be something like the lower level in the infield, or maybe for hockey, it would be, like the lower level, the center sections. Or for concert at your everyday outdoor amphitheater would be you have the get-in price for the event, and then you have the pavilion price of so that you're getting rid of those lawn tickets. So those are kind of the default zones. And then if somebody wants to say well, I want to sit I want to go to the show at the Beacon Theater, and I only want to sit in Orchestra Center, and I only want to sit in rows, the first 4 rows, that they can create that zone and see what the price is for specifically for those tickets. So that is something that will require an account. That is something that also was a lot of legwork to build out, but I think it's really important because a lot of people, they want to sit in a specific section and they want to know what those prices are doing, and maybe the overall get-in price is not so important to them. And then one other thing you would need in account for, of course, is to get a price alert. So now that you've created that custom zone, Orchestra Center, only rows 1 through 4, tell me when at least 4 tickets in that specific area, go under $300 and alert me then. And once again, hopefully that's something that is appealing to like an everyday fan just looking to score a deal. But yeah, those are the only 2 things that require an account. But otherwise, anybody can do anything they want for free. And yeah.
The zone thing is interesting to me because number one, and again, if I'm wrong, you tell me, because that's like sort of what I'm here for, is to be the one that's wrong, and then let people who are smarter than me give a good answer. But the zone thing seems like a great idea for 2 reasons. Number one is like the search function on most sites and most platforms is still god awful.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. So it's awful. And then the second part is like, because of the way the specificity that you can do, you can get with creating this zone for yourself in the alert, it kind of mimics a little bit of like what your old school like ticket broker did, which is like when you kind of had a guy. Or am I like a little off here? It's like you're kind of like creating an automated, like computerized guy.
Totally, yeah. I think that's spot on. Another good thing too is that it doesn't start when you create that custom zone. It doesn't just start tracking from today on out. So if you're going to whatever show is tonight, you create that zone, and you can see what that zone did, for the past 6 months leading up till today. Even though you just created the zone right now, which I think helps a lot, because if the show's tonight, you can start recording it now, and you're not really going to see much change. But if you can retroactively see what it did for the past 6 months and see like, wow, it went from $1,000 6 months ago to $500 a month ago to $300, and then yesterday it was $200, now it's $100. You can know that even that zone is declining in price, without just knowing what's happening from here on out.
It teaches you it pays to wait.
I'm total. I should release some statistics. I kind of have the data. I know you're all about pays to wait. I think I'm generally about pays to wait, and in most situations. But that is, I don't think it's much of a secret. We all kind of know that, generally speaking, prices go down as the event gets closer. Obviously, there's many exceptions here and there, but that is the general trend, and it applies to most events.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm I'm pro pays to wait, because I don't want to see people like have to pay more than they need to pay for things.
Sure.
But at the same time, as a trained marketer, I also I worry the damage on the brands of the performers and the artists and the teams and stuff that pays to wait does. So I'm conflicted. I of course want to benefit from pays to wait. At the same time, but I think it's this where it comes from is this blunt force like way of selling tickets. And it's like everything goes on sale right away at the on sale. Oh my God, everything's great. We sold out like immediately. This is awesome. All of those things are conspiring to create the pays to wait phenomena, which I am always extremely happy to benefit from. So,
yes.
Yeah. So I mean, that's my take.
Sure. One thing we didn't even mention yet is another feature that I'm slowly rolling out, because I want to make sure it's right before we roll it out to more events, is forecasts on events. So for starting with sports, it's not yet live for any concert stuff, but for sports, especially for NHL and NBA, there's a lot of events that we're putting out a forecast on. So I've got years and years of historical data showing all these trends, And so for any event that you could go to, and there'd be a forecast there showing the likelihood that prices will increase or decrease for that event. In most cases, it's going to say that prices will decrease. But there's certainly exceptions to that, and it's been interesting to me to kind of look at those forecasts. I've worked with the data scientists because it's kind of beyond my. I'm a developer, but that kind of stuff is beyond what I'm capable of. So I've got a data scientist that's working hard on it, and he's doing a great job. And it's cool to actually see it. It is pretty accurate. And I want it to continue to be accurate, so I don't want to just blindly roll it out to everything without really making sure that it's not going to be perfect, but try to make it as good as it can be before rolling it out to everything.
And that's a feature too that benefits from like the more data that it has, the better it predicts things, right?
Totally.
It's just like the Google Flights thing, right? Where you got that, and it's got the red and the green zones. And it's like, oh yeah, this is a great price, or this is average, or this is high. So I mean that makes sense. Because I was playing with it as we've been talking. I was like, well, let me see what this forecast feature does, and I saw that it's coming soon because I was like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen. I think Dave Chappelle is this week in DC at the Capital One Arena. So I was like, oh, let me see what Dave Chappelle tickets look like. Just because it was top of my mind.
Totally,
yeah. And I was like, oh, it hadn't rolled out yet. So that's good that you brought that up because, I was like, oh, let me ask about this. So you said you're a programmer, right?
Yes.
And you're making this thing for tickets, but you didn't tell us exactly how you came around to tickets, and what's your background in the industry, because I think people maybe you do a good job of like being hidden on the internet when I was trying to do research for the show,
totally.
for the conversation.
Yeah, totally.
So I mean, people might have a little bit like going, well, why should I trust Keith?
Totally.
So why should people like trust you talking about these tickets? Because a lot of times I think if you don't have a background in tickets and you go, there's certain specific things that like you kind of need to be in the industry to know.
Absolutely.
Less than people would think, but still like they're there.
I would agree. If somebody came to me and said that they got into this industry 2 months ago, I would definitely be a little weary of anything that they're going to say. But I've been doing tickets stuff full time for about 15 years. Like many of us, I kind of originally was just, whatever band is going on sale, I could buy these tickets and I could sell them for twice as much as I paid for them. And, just to make a few extra bucks here and there. And then in 2012, I built basically the original version of Ticket Data, which many people remember, which was a tool that got sales data at a time when there was nowhere else to get that kind of data. And I ran that for about 5 years. Eventually, I had to shut that down because the sales data, once again, Ticket Data now is just telling people listings data. It's not telling you what was sold or anything. So the sales data became impossible to get. So unfortunately, many people were upset, especially a lot of large people, large brokers on the resale side, that that data went away in roughly 2017. It was just it was impossible to get anymore. So I had to shut that down. And then launched a tool called GoPricer, which was a pricing tool, which had decent success, but never quite took off as much as I really wanted it to, and ran with that until COVID. And then, when COVID hit, it kind of just was a natural time to wind that down. And after that, I focused on just running the pricing for a couple large companies on the resale side. More of just back-end stuff, not like a kind of front-end facing tool. But yeah, basically just back-end code, kind of running their pricing, deciding when to lower prices, when to raise prices. And I kind of did that until earlier this year. And then, just kind of felt like I was ready to do something new and really ready to do something, once again, more public-facing, and something that, I could say to my friends, hey, look here's my site here. I don't just sit around on my computer all day and, bang on the keyboard. Like I actually do something, and here's a real functioning product that you can actually see and go to, and maybe you even want to use it, and it can help you save a few bucks.
Keith, are you still doing that computer thing at the holidays?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Keith, are you still doing that? Yep, yeah. If you ask,
Yeah. Now you can go like, this is my thing. This
I
is.
think if you ask my mom what I do for a living, I think something with tickets, but I'm not too sure. I think that would still be
He's
her
on the
answer to that.
computer.
Yeah.
He's on the
So at least now
computer.
I could say, Mom, go, you can go to this website and it's really there. It's not just it's not make believe. Yeah.
Yeah, it really works.
Yeah.
So, with all of this experience, so 15 years, right? You started the OG ticket data, and ran in 2012. You did the Go Pricer,
Yep.
that you said got some traction, but not exactly what you wanted. You've
Yep.
done the back end on pricing things. I guess I'd be curious. It's like going, what are some of the things that you've learned along the way that you want to make sure you include in the new ticket data? And then is there like a mistake or two that you've made that like you want to make sure that you're like especially wary of?
Um, those are good questions. Those are some tough questions. I think the thing that I'm hesitant about, kind of like we were talking about earlier, is ticket data in its current form, is it something that's only appealing to you and I and other people in our industry, in our world, or is this something that has appealed to the general public? I think, as you were saying before, I think you used the term infinitely more difficult in terms of reaching those. It's easy to reach the people in our world. It's very, very hard to reach people beyond that. So yeah, I think that will be an uphill battle to get someone to even know that, if I'm going to buy a ticket for this concert, maybe I should check this other site, so I have some idea of what prices are doing. I think everybody likes to save money. I think that's a pretty universal thing. So from that aspect, I would hope that it can kind of click to an everyday person, like, oh, this is something would be a good idea to check, anytime before I buy tickets. It takes half a second to pull it up on your phone, and I can just see, like, wow, like, prices are tanking and they continue to tank, and the event isn't for another 3 days. Like, it's pretty clear that I should just wait another day or two, and I'll save good money by doing so. So I think focusing on that, and once again, the balance of keeping ticket data something that I'm getting so many feature requests from brokers, from ticketing people, to be able to say, I get that that's a really important feature for you, but adding that maybe detracts and makes the experience less pleasant for somebody who doesn't understand what all those extra things are.
Oh yeah, I mean the key is, like, for the consumer facing platform, it's like, what's the least amount of information they need to make an educated decision. And I think one of the challenges that a lot of programmers face, or a lot of tech solutions face, is they try to put everything in because they can, and it's cool. But then the thing is like, how do you make it useful? And that's often at odds with, like, I can do this. You don't have to do it. You just have to do what the person needs. And I think that's a legitimate thing. And I think the other consideration when you talk about reaching a consumer, consumer facing ticket buyer, or a consumer ticket, a customer, a fan. Geez, man, I can't even speak today. Is like making sure that there's the physical and mental availability. Which the physical availability in this case is like, you have a website. I've surfed on it. I played with it. You have links to like to most of the major sites, including the box office. The box office, which I think is great.
Which is totally, we kind of gloss over that. But yeah, I don't want to. If tickets are cheaper on the primary, I want people to go to the primary. So so right now I'm including a lot of primary stuff from Ticketmaster, but I want to make that so that every event says, here's the secondary.
Check the box office.
Check the box office too, because maybe you're going to get a better deal there.
Yeah, and I think that will be valuable. It's just again, it's just getting people to get driving traffic to your site. And I think, that'll come over time. Keith, where can people find you and the website on the internet?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just ticketdata.com. It's pretty straightforward. Fortunately, I had the domain from 15 years ago. Probably would have costed a few bucks to maybe buy that now, but I was fortunate enough that I got it when I think I just registered it for free, probably in like 2010 or something. And if you want to email me directly, it's just Keith at Ticket Data. I would love to chat about anything and everything. If you have any recommendations for the site or anything you want to see, I'd love to hear it. But once again, trying to keep everything not too complicated and keep it something that an everyday person would be interested in, while also making it something that is appealing to people in ticketing as well.
Yeah, I think it's like would be really helpful for the people who are on the primary side who maybe don't have access to, they don't have a consolidator partner, or they don't have a secondary partner that they work with, or they might work with and they don't necessarily trust all the time. They give them all the data. I think something like this would be really valuable. Obviously, if the brokers are already coming to you and talking about features and things that they want to do, that's a signal to the people on the primary side who maybe either want some more of this data or don't have access to it, that this is probably a tool that would be really great. And it's free. The price is right.
Yes, the price is right. The price is right.
Yeah, at least for now, the price is great.
Yeah, like we were talking about before. I mean, fortunately, it's not like I'm, paying a team of developers or anything. There are some things that I've had other people work on, especially the front end stuff. I had someone help me to make it kind of really look good, because front end work is not my forte, as well as kind of the forecast stuff, because I want that to be really good. So kind of got somebody that knows what they're doing there. But fortunately, it doesn't cost much to keep things going. And I think if and when I'm able to get a lot of users, then I can figure out the dollars and cents later on. But right now the focus is kind of just proving that this is in fact interesting to people outside of our world, and getting this in front of them, and hopefully getting them to use it, and hopefully they can recommend it to a friend, and it'll keep spreading.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Keith, thank you so much for doing this.
Of course, thanks, Dave. This is great. I've been a long time listener, so it's cool to actually be here talking on the show now.
Yeah, see, I'm not like so scary after all.
I agree. Nope, not at all.
All right, do me a solid and let me know what you thought about my talk with Keith by sending me an email. It's my name, Dave, at davewakeman.com. Make sure you check out the Talking Tickets newsletter. That's talkingtickets.substack.com. The last episode, as I dropped this podcast, was about premium seating. It shared some insights from the 2025 Talking Tickets Global Survey, and some of my research that I've done over the years with clients. It's going to be great. I'm still accepting responses. The more responses I get, the better that I can share these ideas with you, because then I know more, right? I'm a smarter guy because of it. So check that out, talkingtickets.substack.com, or visit my website, davewakeman.com. There's going to be some more stuff that comes out around this. It's going to be great. Also, do me a favor. We're 35 minutes into this podcast, so I know that you like it. So do me a solid and rate and review the podcast, your favorite podcast platform, whatever it is, and share it with people. Right? It helps me keep the podcast growing. We still helps me have great guests like Keith. Sandra Shannon's coming up in the next episode after this. Great conversations, and I want to keep that going. I enjoyed having these talks. I enjoy sharing them with you, and you seem to enjoy listening to them. So by rating, reviewing, and sharing, it helps me keep the podcast going. All right. As I always say, or as like I typically have said at the end of these things since for the last 4 or 5 years, I couldn't do this without you. So thank you so much for being here and listening to me. I look forward to seeing you around. So take it easy.